accordance with Indiana Code 5-14-1.5-6.1, where we are authorized by federal and state statute, we did hold an executive session. And I would like to call this meeting to order. I think it's 7:06. My old eyes deceive me sometimes. And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, board attached are the minutes of the executive session, work session, and regular session meetings held on July 2nd, 2026.
I'd like to make a motion that the board approve the executive session, the work session, and the regular session minutes of July 2nd, 2026.
Second.
Board, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, please place your vote. Thank you, everyone. We passed 7-0. Next up is our financial reports. Since our student reps are not present as of yet, Mr. Secretary, Mr. Forrest, would you please mind reading the vouchers?
Okay, we have school education, $917,556.62. Education for curriculum materials, $14,923.72. Exempt operating, post 2009, $27,336. Debt service, $4,679,500. Preferred debt, post 2009, $890,500. School operations, $411,130.41. School lunch, $46,131.39. Self-insurance fund, $479,091.42. Building brickies, $397.94. Home family donation fund, $1,350. Early years initiative grant, $150.99. Healthy Hobart, BFTS, $525.50. City of Hobart, $43,690. Formative assessment grant, $8,457.55. Safe supportive injection free, $379.47. Title I, Part A, fiscal year 25-26, $411.18. Clearing accounts, $482,211.13. Self-insurance clearing, $58,710.58. Clearing flexible benefits, BF, $52,725.04. Prepaid food, $176.44. Clearing insurance account, $1,731.25. Total vouchers, $7,972,486.82.
Thank you, Mr. Forrest. Board, your pleasure.
I'd like to make a motion that the board approve the payment of vouchers for July 16, 2026.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Thank you, board. That passes 7-0. Are there any comments on the agenda items from the audience? Not yet. Personnel report. Mr. Mack?
Board, in your electronic packet, you received a copy of the personnel report and the personnel report addendum for July 16th. Board action is requested.
I'd like to make a motion that the board approve personnel reports as presented.
Second.
Board, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, you may place your vote, please. And that passed 7-0. Thank you, Board. And here we are, recommendation to the acceptance of bids for Hobart High School baseball and softball turf project. Dr. Buffington, I'm going to turn that over to you.
Yes, and I am really grateful. Scott Cherry is here from Skillman Construction Management, and he is our construction manager for this project. And I've been working with Dion that works for his company, and you guys have done an outstanding job for us on such quick turnover. And we had a bid opening this week, and he is going to review what the recommendations will be for the turf on our baseball and softball field. So take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Buffington, and good evening, Madam President, members of the board. It's really a pleasure to be here today. Really, the guys who did the hard work, Deanne Soares, Joe Briggs, and Jim Thompson and Gibraltar's team, they did an outstanding job.
Definitely.
And it's nice to be able to be here tonight with a pretty good recommendation. Yesterday morning, we received bids. We received 4 bids. I believe in your packet you have that information. I'm happy to read each bid if you'd like, but whatever the board's pleasure is.
They received the bid tabs, and I think we're going to, obviously we're going to take the most responsive bidder if you would like to review that with them.
Sure. As is part of our job, we meet with and talk with a lot of the bidders, but primarily the low bidders. If you look at the results of the bid,
Can you pull that up first, Chris?
2 lower bids obviously were close, and the third one was pretty good. The fourth one we've never worked with before, but and they were a little higher. So the contractor that we chose to was the low bidder. We had a pre-award with them and made sure the scope was covered, which it was. And that contractor we're recommending is Austrian Equipment Incorporated in the amount of $3,926 or $26,659, and that's for the base bid only. We can talk about alternates later, but for the base bid, it's our recommendation. We award them a contract and issue a notice to proceed. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
So, and thank you for that, Scott. So listen, everyone, one of the things that we looked at when we first looked at this project, and it was pretty quick that it all came to play, that the mayor wanted to help us with the turf. And so one of the jobs that was done that they kind of modeled our budget off of was Duneland. And so we knew what the scope of the project would be. It would be around $4.6 million. And then going out for bid, you have to take into consideration soft cost allowances and, when you're sitting here at the 3.9, you talk about construction management fees, architect fees. Will you have an allowance, and will you have, in case you have some change orders that you're going to you just have to have a little bit reserved there. We're right at that 4.6 million. Some contingency. There's like 186,000 in contingency, 60,000 left in allowances. Then you have construction, architectural costs, and the 3.9. We're right at 4.6. I called the mayor. I told him, I'm like, this is where it landed, and everybody wanted this job done before November 1st so that they could play on the turf next spring. And so that's what your company came in and said, and with Jim Thompson's company at Gibraltar, we can do it, but you got to do it now. This has been a little bit unusual because we would have met with people prior to trying to get a budget together, but we met with them afterwards just to say like, well, he's paying for turf, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, could we get this? Could we get that? Could we do this? Could we do that? We took their suggestions, and Dion did a great job. I asked him to classify those alternates by a deadline. And so I gave that to the mayor because he came to one of the meetings. I said, hey,
we're just really grateful that you gave us what you did. And I said, but you wanted this project to be done accordingly, and I said, it's your decision. If you want some of these other things done, it would be up to you to tell us if you want them done. But there is a deadline that we have to meet on some of those alternates because it would affect the work of the base. And so I'm sure the mayor's reviewing it. He was coming back from a meeting in his car, and I went through each one of them because he couldn't open up email, and I added the cost for him. One of the things that people ask for, and I think it's significant to talk about this in terms of seating and bleachers, when you look at the alternate, one alternate is almost $500,000, and it's for extra seating. And you know what happens with extra seating is it's on those larger events when you're in sectional and or you're playing a conference game or a tough competitor. But you don't really use all of that extra seating unless you're in that situation. But I will tell you, they all wanted it. And I will say, because I was obviously I ran this project as we were building this high school. One of the things that I do think that if I had to pick one flaw, it would be the seating at girls softball. I think it's not adequate. It's worse than being behind a pole at Wrigley Field. You know, I mean, like you can't see because of the dugout. So I understand why they want it, and I want them to have it, but we don't have the capacity to do that. And so I think the mayor's going to take all of those alternates, and he's going to consider it. I wouldn't have even had them put alternates in a package had the mayor said to me, let's see what it costs. And so that was under his direction that he asked me, see what it costs. So I turned that over to him. Dion gave me the dates that he has to know that by, and the mayor has those dates. But in the meantime, as he suggested, I think that the board should make a motion to accept the low bidder, and we can get that contract signed and proceed with work.
I'd like to make a motion that the board accept the bids as recommended by construction management and architect.
Second.
Board, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, please place your vote.
Thank you guys for the work.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we cannot say thank you enough because your firm and Gibraltar, I mean, this happened so fast, and you guys just have been wonderful. And so, really a pleasure to work with you.
Thank you, and we're excited to be here, truly, so. I know
Trust me, I would have loved to have had you on the pool.
That's okay. So, we'll wait our turn.
Yeah, there you go.
The experience with Gibraltar and, with these other fields, I'm confident with what our approach to it. There's always unknowns, some of the soils and things like that, and looked at those. And, we got to hit it hard, and that's why the dates are a deadline, so we can make sure we get this open and ready.
Right.
On the surface, it seems like plenty of time.
Yeah, I should point out in reviewing it with Dion, interesting concepts that we talked about. We projected it coming in at about 3.7, and it came in at 3.9. And I loved what, like when we were discussing it, and he's like, you got to think about the rubber pellets and petroleum, and what is petroleum? Up and down, up and down. And so we're about $200,000 over the projected cost. But one of the other factors, which I also knew, was girls softball. I knew the soil borings were going to come back wetter out in the outfield, and sure enough, they did. And that's another one of the reasons why we're a little bit over the projected cost. And so the good news is we're still within our budget, and we can do it, and we've got great people taking care of it, and we'll keep an eye on everything and make sure that it's beautiful. And we couldn't do this without the mayor, and we couldn't do this without both of the organizations working for us to get it done quickly.
It's not a problem, it's good cavities.
No. One of these days, Scott, I'll take you through our pool, a labor of love and veterans. And you can see we did build some pretty great things with Gibraltar as this building, but it has been really a pleasure working with Dion. And so thank you for assigning him, and thank you for turning it over so quickly.
Pass that on.
very good. We passed that 7-0, so.
All right.
Okay.
Yay.
You
So
get
I
to go
think I'll
home.
leave. I hope you're okay. If there's anything else on the
Yes.
agenda for me.
No, nothing
Thank you
for
very much for
Thank you very
attending.
much.
Thank you.
Take care, Scott.
All right, next item on our agenda is the school safety specialist, Dr. Buffington.
So board, in your packet, you have a copy of our school safety specialists that attend training. And that training would include our district security team as well as our SROs. So the board must approve all of our safety specialists, and so I'm going to name them. And that would be Greg Violata, John Mock, Monty White, Mike Jimenez, Matt Bissick, Mike Weber. Our new SROs, Cody Sparks and Thomas Mosley, will attend school safety specialist training this school year, and they will become school safety specialists after their training is complete. Board action is requested.
I'd like to make a motion that the board approve the school safety specialist selected by the superintendent. Second.
Board, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, please place your vote. And that passes 7-0. Thank you, board. Our next item on the agenda is the school safety plan. Dr. Buffington.
Board, as you know, it is our responsibility to provide a safe environment and have a comprehensive school safety plan. And as you also note that we can review those plans with you in an executive session, and some of those things are very confidential in how we handle things, and we reviewed this plan with you in executive session. I don't know if Attorney Longer would like to talk about why we can do that with you in executive session, but because you have reviewed it, and we'll ask him to speak to why we can do that in executive session, then we'll be asking you to approve the school safety plan that we went over with you in executive session. Mr. Longer?
Well, obviously, board, state law specifically permits discussion of a school safety plan as a topic that is appropriate for executive session. And the reason for that, of course, is that you want to have effective school safety measures in place, and the effectiveness of some of those measures depends on the fact that they're not made public. So we discuss those in executive session because if there are people out there with ill intent, we don't want to advertise some of the measures we have in place to keep them from succeeding.
Board action is requested.
Board, your pleasure.
I'd like to make a motion the board approve the school safety plan.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Board, your pleasure.
I would like to say that after our executive session that I understand the reasoning why we can't put it out to the public, but just to put it on public comment to the parents that the plans are extensive. They are well reviewed. There are very smart people who have looked into them and gone through them, and having known what they are, that I feel as a parent more assured, knowing how much has gone into them. So I thank you guys for all the work that you do, and our safety specialists for what they do. It's great to have the SROs there in the schools as well. So I just want to put it out there to the parents that they can rest assured there are people paying very close attention to the safety of their kids.
Right, and I would just point out for some oldies but goodies, but everybody that's out there, we've had a director of school safety since I've been superintendent. I'm going into my 20th year here, and they do an amazing job, but we are so expansive. This falls under Homeland Security. We have things that have to be in place legally, and we have things that are above and beyond that are a part of our plan to keep our children safe here. I do want to just highlight the fact that our kids are very responsive to school safety, and for that I'm extremely thankful. I would also just point out, as you did, Mr. Keene, that we also ran a safety academy for our parents last school year, and you actually attended it. And the things that we can speak about publicly, we shared with them. And so we will do that again this year. We'll have the Safety Academy so that parents can come and hear what all of our plans are, and we'll go over our layered approach with them so that they can feel confident we're doing everything that we can to keep their children safe. Because we love their children just like they do. And we want them to come here and have the safest environment possible. But I do say this with wholeheartedness. The city, our partnership, and our SROs is one of the best things that we could ever do in this community, having an SRO in every building. And the other factor is making sure that your staff is trained appropriately and your students are trained appropriately. And I think that our plan is very comprehensive, and it is evident that that training is built into our plans. You would not be successful without that.
And with that discussion, you can place your votes. There we go, 7-0. Thank you, board. Our next item on the agenda is the recommendation to accept donations. Dr. Buffington.
Yes, this is just so incredible, and I want to thank Pat Spoon for diligently staying after this, working the calculator, trying to figure out what the donation summary is. And you know, you can look at it from booster clubs, PTOs, local businesses, grant organizations, and the total donations was $351,085.65. And that included donations from the Educational Foundation in the amount of $33,865.09. And in addition, the Educational Foundation gave out $4,500 in scholarship. We send out things to our donors. If you were looking at the donor summary sheet, you can see it for each school. The Early Learning Center had $12,669. Joanne Martin, $55,540. Liberty Elementary, $9,605,000. Veterans Elementary, $21,181. Hobart Middle School, $850. Hobart High School, $17,000. Hobart High School Athletic Department, $120,835.46. And as you go down, School City of Hobart, Brickies from the Start, $62,894. School Nutrition Department, $2,450. School City of Hobart Miscellaneous, $48,060.39. And again, that grand total of $351,085.65. I do want to just point out, you know, as we look at school finance and budgets and how complex it is, people really don't realize there's an education fund and an operating fund, and they don't realize what you can spend out of education, what you can spend out of operational. But you all know, in publicly stating this, 93% of our operating budget is gone. And we can't pay our utility bill without doing extraordinary measures here to pay our utility bill. Can you imagine just all the little extra things that we get to do because of this, right? And so we don't take this lightly. That's why it's on a public agenda, and we accept these donations, and we want to publicly thank everyone that works so hard to make these things happen, or to just give out of the kindness of their hearts. Their generosity is noted, and we couldn't be more thankful that we get this, because we have all kinds of opportunities because of it. Board action is requested to accept these donations.
I'd like to make a motion that the board accept the donations and gifts as presented.
Second.
Okay. Board, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Thank you to all.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
People with big hearts.
Exactly.
All right, that passes 7-0. Thank you, board. Our next item on the agenda is the recommendation to the adoption of amplified ELA for grades 6 through 8. Dr. Buffington.
Well, we have Dr. Krieg in the house, and he's going to go over that in just a few moments. I do want to just kind of say, this has been a lot on Dr. Krieg, and actually our middle school language arts staff and the middle school administration. We have a very viable curriculum in place, but there was some legislation that you had to adopt something that was approved, and it had to be the science of reading. And we looked extensively at this, where you would have to go through a waiver process not to do it. And, you know, I want to just say how proud I was of the middle school the prior year, how much they had grown and I learned. And that's because the curriculum maps, our professional learning communities, the professional development that we did, we really finally were up there where that state average was, and we were feeling pretty good about it. And then that legislation came out, and, you know, I was contacting the state, I was contacting our service center that's for our for the region, and like, surely that law doesn't mean that we have to scrap our curriculum maps and adopt something different. The waiver process could have happened potentially, and at this point we just said it's not worth it. We're not going to throw out our best ideas from our curriculum maps, but we are going to pull in some material that the state is requiring schools to do. And so unless you want to go through a waiver process, you have to adopt something in grades 6 to 8. Keep in mind our K through 5 already has something that is the science of reading. It's already been adopted, it's been approved, they're using it. Grades 6 to 8, totally different. And so I want to thank Tim. When this first came out, Dr. Krieg, when this first came out, there were really only 2 selections that I had known about. And I had seen quite a bit with Amplify because I read some of their white papers or whatever. And then Dr. Krieg really started doing the work of, like, send us the samples, get the person to come in and talk to us about their product, and hosting meetings and trying to figure out if this is the best product. I'm going to turn it over to him so that he can talk about this, because he did a great job with it. And then we'll go over the cost, the process, the recommendation, and ask the board to approve this for an adopted material. Dr. Krieg?
Yeah, it was a process, and I give so many people a lot of credit, because we reached out to a network, right? So you have curriculum directors in the area, and we said, hey, here's the Indiana code, what did you do? And the only people that got back to us, which was quite a few, they all said the same thing, and it was all Amplify. So then we said, okay. So then we reached out to them, and then you'll see in the recommendation there, I'm very proud of the way that we handled it, because we went to our people and we said, what do you think? What do you think? Because you're doing a good job. And what they told us was very telling. They said, thank you, and we appreciate that, but it's a lot of work. And they said, when like new people come and there's transition and movement especially, they said, like, it's hard to have materials and to do tiered interventions and supports. And this is very interesting, because you get a blend of consumables and digital materials for $25 per student per year, and that includes consumable novel. And so that means that the student is able to, like, annotate in the text. That also includes 6 different writing journals, so the student actually gets an individual writing journal per topical unit of study, and that's obviously based on the science of reading. And then they have a workbook that's also consumable. And so there's a digital component as well, but the thing that we liked about that is that there's a balance between technology use, but then also physical use. Okay, put your Chromebooks away. Now's the time to do this. Okay, get your Chromebooks out, computer-enhanced items, etc., for exit tickets in the writing coach and Conmigo and things of that nature. And so they've been working this summer, and we've been very proud of them. And the last thing I'll say about the Amplify product itself, we said they're doing well. What about implementation gap? And they talked to us about what you see here, the 100-day approach. And so they said, look, you mix it, right? You have what you do, you know you have X number of days. What we say to you is, here's 100 of our lessons that you need to do. So that way you have your curriculum, plus you do 100 of ours within that. That they said, that's what your neighbors are doing. We haven't seen an implementation gap, which was very encouraging. So
It
very
is,
thankful.
and so when Dr. Krieg is talking about that, no matter what, when you adopt something new, you usually see an implementation dip. I mean, so like you're up here, they're trying to figure out the materials, what do they use, when, where, and you start to see a little slide go down. And their 100-day approach, and it's well documented. I've been doing this for a very long time. It's accurate. You will have an implementation dip. And so that was really important for them to say, use this 100-day approach. I will say, you know, for readers and writers, and Dr. Krieg knows this, I mean, like, I believe kids should be reading and writing every day in all of their classes. And I love the fact that they can annotate in a journal, annotate in an actual novel, and we don't have to take the novel back from them. That is so, I mean, like, if you're a reader and you're trying to read something that's important to you, you highlight when you read, you underline things when you read, and we can't do that when we need that material back. And so that's really good. I love the journals. I'm very proud of Dr. Krieg and the staff, because this could be something that could be very valuable to us, but it is a lot of work and it is scary for people when they were just used to what they were doing and now have to do this. So the 100-day approach is good,
Yep.
right?
Yep. And I know you're going to talk about costs. You can see there,
So cheap.
it's so sad the way that it's a business, right? So if you do a 1-year adoption, you're gonna pay about $56 per student per year. Whereas if you do a 6-year adoption, then that comes out to like half of that, more than half of that, at about $25 per student per year. And so there's no denying that it benefits you to do a longer term adoption, which is why they build it that way. And then from an implementation gap, obviously it's built that way as well. So the other,
I will just say, I'm sorry, Dr. Krieg, but I will just say, when I first heard what the cost is over time, I was a little shocked by that, because there's quite a bit here for $25 a student. I'm going to tell you, on the elementary side of things, that would not be the case. Usually language arts is your most expensive adoption. And when Dr. Krieg told me the price, I was like, what? And I hope that, you know, like, they understand how appreciative school districts are with what they're offering and that cost, because I think it's a very attractive price for what you're getting.
to give you an example to her point, the last thing that we had for ELA at the secondary level in the form of an adoption was a product through College Board called Springboard.
Mm-hmm.
All it was one consumable that was about half the thickness of this, and I don't remember the exact dollar amount, but it was about $20 a student. Whereas this is 6 writing journals, twice the size of the consumable and the novel. So we were like $25, and that was quite a few
I
years ago.
couldn't believe it.
It was pretty good.
Well, it takes the kids out of just electronics only,
Yeah.
and that's a real positive.
I'm excited for that blended learning as well. That's awesome, because handwriting is very important.
It truly is, and I think people don't realize how important handwriting is.
Some
And
kids don't learn on this point, they learn on this point.
and I think the other thing that really sold us was we have a ton of respect for our teachers at the middle level, but along with that would be your special education teachers. And one of them, Pam Cunningham, she's amazing. And she told us after, she said, hey, just so you know, I worked with someone down in Bloomington who works there now. And she said she wouldn't work anywhere she doesn't believe in. and they worked with students with disabilities. And she actually came up here and she did our first training in June. And so from a tiered intervention standpoint for students that we know are one or more grade level behind, we had her do the training, which was really nice.
I got one minor thing on that third paragraph, we're talking about $25 per student. In the paper here, it's an S25.
Yeah, we noted that, yeah. Should have been a dollar sign, it's an S. We'll correct that for you. But with that being said, again, thank you to Dr. Krieg and to all of our middle school staff, and it'll be an interesting school year, but we'll take it nice and slow and try to help people through the process, and in the long-term aspect of this, it will be better for everyone. And so we'd ask the board to approve the adoption of Amplify English Language Arts for grades 6 to 8 as recommended.
I'd like to make a motion that the board approve the adoption of Amplify ELA for grades 6 through 8 as recommended.
Board, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Thank you for all the work you guys did on that.
Yes, thank you.
I know it's very comprehensive.
Yep. If there is no other discussion, board, please place your vote. And we pass 7-0. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is the recommendation to accept the IDOE Formative Assessment Grant. Dr. Buffington again.
All right. Lori Anderson actually does the work on this particular grant. She discusses it with Dr. Krieg and myself in our regular weekly meetings. And this is for the formative assessment grant. And so what we use that amount, the money from that grant for is for iReady in grades K to 2 and the PSAT for testing 9th graders. And last year's grant was $19,000. The total grant, it was $19,620. The total grant amount is $19,055.52, and math allocations of $9,020.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's split evenly, I'm sorry.
it is split even. Yeah. Okay. How about that? And we'll correct that. Thank you, Mrs. Goon. And so basically, you're accepting the $19,055.52. Without that formative grant, we would have to pay for that iReady assessment and the PSAT. And if you're wondering what that does for us, there's, for iReady, there's a diagnostic in there, and then after we do some instruction, we can see if they're on target, and it's like the stoplight, red, green, yellow. We can see when kids are still struggling in the red. We can see the kids that are approaching are almost there. We see the green, they're already there. They need more. Obviously, the PSAT, we really want our 9th graders to start experiencing what it's like to take that assessment. And the SAT is, widely known for being accepted into schools and colleges. Not all colleges require that, but it is our state's accountability test. You're familiar with iRead, you're familiar with iLearn. SAT is the accountability test at the high school. You cannot go into a testing environment and not have experienced it, right? And so a lot of kids would be like, oh, this is just a practice test. It's so much more than that, because you get a score and we'll be able to tell you areas that you may be challenged in, and you can go right out to Khan Academy and start working on that. Many of our kids don't realize that your SAT score does matter. I can walk in, you can give me your application for a college, and I can tell you that, like, if IU said, we don't take SAT scores, I'm gonna look at, you have a 4.6 grade point average here, why is your SAT score so low? And it's because you decided not to take it seriously. The number of students who they find out that the university or college isn't going to look at that, they just blow the test off. And okay, so if it's between the two of us, who's going to get accepted into the Kelley School of Business, I'm going to take the person that's got the SAT score and the grade point average, right? So, we laboriously go over this with students, don't blow the test. And so we'll have to do our song and dance again with them this year as a reminder. I can tell you, it's disheartening because they don't take it serious and it's our accountability test. I will say this, the state does realize at some point that we're battling that with students at the high school. The new accountability, it's only 10% of your report card grade, and there's other markers that count for more, and that's what we have to go after. There is a disdain for the SAT beyond belief, and we'll just keep trying to convince kids that what if your school decides that it is going to count? And what if you are amongst the limited candidates they're looking at? Don't blow your SAT, right? And we've got all kinds of tools to help them with it. If we know that you're low in a certain standard, you can go right out to Khan Academy and it will give you tutoring to help overcome that, along with academic assist. We have SAT digital training for that. So that's why you see that 9th grade program built into this. And so that's what we were eligible for, and that's what we're going to do. We find really good results from both of those assessments, and we use them wholeheartedly to help our kids achieve higher. So with that being said, I want to thank Lori Anderson for the work that she did to fill out the paperwork, and I'd ask the board to accept it so that we can execute the documents to carry on.
All righty, thank you, Dr. Buffington. Board, your pleasure.
I'd like to make a motion that the board accept the IDOE formative assessment grant and authorize the superintendent to sign the necessary documents to execute the grant.
Second.
Board, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, please place your vote. Okay, we passed 7-0. Thank you, board. Our next item on the agenda is the permission to advertise, which is the request for proposal for guaranteed energy savings contract.
Pat, I do believe that the board action is asking it for the latchkey program, and we'll have to make that correction.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, so board, as you know, in our last board meeting, we had Stratalign here going over some proposed energy savings that we could potentially take advantage of. And so based off of their feasibility study, we actually have a request for proposal, and we are asking the board for permission to advertise. And this will go into the paper twice, and people will be able to pick up what the request for proposal is and be able to walk our buildings and cost out some of those things that look like they could potentially save us if we had that work done, and it's within the scope of the bond money that we have to pay for it. Some of those things that were on the feasibility list we already had in a plan to execute, so we would be hopeful that pricing would come back enough that we would see the work be able to be awarded and to be executed, and it save our operating budget, which gets hit so hard with energy costs. And as you well know, we spend about $1.9 million on our NIPSCO bill. Anything that we can do to reduce our NIPSCO bill would be helpful, and try to offset other additional increases from our utility company, which they are infamous for. So we are anxious to get this advertisement out and to get these requests for proposals in motion so that we can see if it comes back at something that we can possibly execute. So board action is requested for advertising these RFPs for guaranteed energy savings.
I'd like to make a motion that the board approve advertising the request for proposal for the guaranteed energy savings contract.
Second.
Board, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, please place your vote. And that passes 7-0. Thank you, board. Our next item on the agenda is a resolution and recommendation for the contract for digital curriculum equipment. Dr. Buffington.
All right, well, this is our annual lease agreement for Chromebook replacement. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. King. He will talk about that. And of course, we had our board attorney review the contract. So go ahead, Mr. King.
Thanks. So this is our usual digital curriculum equipment request. This year, we are going to be replacing 700 Chromebooks that are going end of life. They've been in the rotation for 4 years, which is the standard for Chromebooks in schools. So this will replace the upcoming junior and senior class Chromebooks. And then those Chromebooks that we'll be taking back from them, they are considered end of life by Google. And so, but they still get updates for an additional 2 years. So we use those as our temporaries when kids do damage and we have to send them away or something, and we will rotate those in to continue getting as much use from them as we can. When we do this every year, I do the same thing. I request demos from vendors. We get as many different types and manufacturers in as we can. We test them with our software and make sure they'll work with all the testing that we have to do. And we also give them to some of our heavy-hitting teachers to make sure that they're going to work in the classrooms. And then based on that, we pick one that kind of gives us the best results. This year, you may notice, we've been using Lenovo-branded Chromebooks for years. This year, we're switching to Asus, and that's because Lenovo could not, they're not manufacturing any devices this year in their educational line with the Intel chipset. They're only providing the MediaTek chipset because of the chip shortages that are out there. And our experience with the MediaTek chips is very bad. We had some years ago that would not even function with our software. So they're not even cheaper. They just are not good chips. So we decided to go to Asus this year, who we've had great experience with. We've always had Asus Chromebooks for our teacher Chromebooks. So it wasn't a huge jump. We tested them. They're working well. And they look exactly like the existing Lenovo's. So visually, from one student to another, they're like the same casing. I'm guessing the same manufacturer makes the frames for probably a lot of companies. So that's what we're requesting. We're purchasing from CDWG, who is on the Indiana State bid list with the Central Indiana Educational Service Center. So we didn't have to go out to bid for that because they're already state approved. And the leasing contract is with Providence, who has been our leasing contract for Chromebooks since we started.
I think the interesting thing is that when Brad and Sandy were interviewing student board reps with me, this was a topic of discussion with the student candidates that were running for the student seats that you see vacated because these girls are like vacation and stuff like that. They'll be joining us soon. But this was a topic of conversation. It was even just a topic of the paper that they wrote when they submitted their application. And they were like visibly upset about, like they thought that they deserved better Chromebooks. And then one even challenged us with like, my Chromebook is going on, what did she say, 5 years or something like that? I can't remember if it was 5 or 6, and I texted Chris and I had him look it up and like, no, you just lost track of time, and I'm sorry. But, you know, I think we live in such an amazing country where kids just get everything, right? We lease these for 4 years, and it would be so appreciated if our students and their parents would realize that they have to take care of these, right? And so the kids that are going to be seniors are these students that were running for board rep, and they're going into, they think it would have been like 6 years or something. but I think they get mixed up because they're carrying what they had from the middle school. And it's like, I'm going to be a senior and I've had this thing forever. Well, you're getting ready to get a new one. I hope that they will take care of it. You know, I remember my dad always saying like, yeah, if you pay for it, you'll take care of it. You know, and there is some truth to that. And they don't take care of it. The number of repairs that we do are
26% damage
Did
rate.
you hear what he said? 26%.
Wow.
It's high.
So I would just tell you, you know, like we talk to kids about it, we talk to their parents about it. Please take care of these because we have to keep them for 4 years, and that's just how it goes. I don't know if you want to talk about the lease agreement, Mr. Longer, but again, this is protocol for what we do with the rotation in order to keep functioning. And also keep in mind, when we come to you, even though we're going to take them out of commission and we use them as loaners, eventually the older laptops, sometimes they won't take updates. And so we have to be very cognizant of that as well. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to this side of the table.
So basically, you have a master agreement, and this is just updating the agreement by adding a new schedule with the newer devices. So it isn't really any substantive change in the terms, other than the schedule. And so we've had good luck with both the hardware vendor and the financial side of it for multiple years, so I've got no qualms at all about using both of those.
Mr. Secretary, there's resolution for that, number 26.
Yes, we have a resolution for the school city of Hobart Board of School Trustees. The title is resolution authorizing the purchase of digital equipment and including financing. Resolution number 2026-26.
Board, your pleasure.
I'd like to make a motion that the board adopt resolution number 2026-26 that includes approval of the lease documents and authorizing the superintendent or her designee to execute the leases on behalf of the school city of Hobart as presented.
Second. Okay. Board, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, lots of hard work on his end.
Chris, just one quick question.
Yeah.
What do you think is the most common repair on those computers?
It's typically cracked screens. It's the
I-
most common because they'll get things in them, they'll close them, or they'll try to take the cases off. So they press on the corners because they're snap-ons. So we get a lot of cracked screens.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Porras, I'm sorry. You have
I
a
was just
comment?
gonna say that I do actually like the snap-on cases.
Yeah, we do too. We've actually found, even though they have caused some screen breaks, they've actually helped a lot.
They're more likely to stay.
Yep. Yep.
Mr. Porras, if you would do a roll call, and Board, if you would also do an electronic vote, please.
Yes, David Conte,
Aye.
Don Rogers,
Aye.
Brad King,
Aye.
Stuart Schultz,
Aye.
Brian Forrest votes aye, Sandy Gillen,
Aye.
and Vicky Duffy.
Aye. And that passes 7-0. Thank you, Board. All righty, next item on our agenda is updates, announcements, and reports with school information. Dr. Buckington.
All right, well, we are just headed around the corner before school starts. You can see our back-to-school orientations up there. Gives a little bit of us on this side of the room a little bit of like, oh my goodness, panic attack here. But we'll be ready for sure. We work very hard in the summertime. It's really interesting to me how many people ask what we do in the summertime. There's no breathing time in the summertime. But we'll be ready for people when they come back. And, you know, just being able to see some of the kids at eating lunch or at an athletic practice, or even when we did the book reading and the book signing with the author, and when you ask kids, are you ready to come back? They all said yes. And so I think they're ready to come back, and we'll be excited to see them. there's nothing like seeing them they're back in the swing of things and they're excelling at what they do. And so I'm very glad to be able to talk about that. Okay.
Alrighty. Next item on the agenda is comments. Boy, that got here quick.
It sure
Dr.
did.
Buffington.
The administrators all come back on Monday, and that's our week-long retreat. I did send you how to get into that if you wanted to look at it. Thank you to Mr. Rogers, who's going to pop some popcorn for us. It's anything but a retreat, but I try to use, like it's fun and it's exciting. I'll make it as fun and exciting as I possibly can on very heavy material. And so when you're the leader of something, you must lead and you must grow, you must learn, you must know what your priorities are. So we spend a week preparing for everybody to come back on what our priorities and how we're going to execute to be the high achieving district that we are. And when I look at graduation statistics and our early college and careers, it's truly remarkable. But it is definitely a district-wide responsibility. And when you have to look just even from birth to kindergarten, and kindergarten all the way up through 5th grade, our middle school, as they're exploring, and then you get them up here and they have to be ready for the rigor that's in front of them. It's a process, isn't it? And so could be proud of our staff for where we are with these things. There's a lot of work that goes into that prior to that. And you're going to see, if you do log into it, we kind of look at things that are scalable and how do we multiply those things so that everybody is achieving to their potential. And I do believe that we just have great opportunities here. And our goal would be that every child gets to take advantage of the opportunities. And if they're not, why not? What do we need to do differently? So looking forward to that next week. I can't thank the left here. They're always working really hard. We just have so much going on this summer. Mr. King and the transition to Skyward Q. I will say Hobart Happenings, very interesting, and just the comments from everyone not understanding. I mean, like, your bank tells you that they're shut down for software updates and maintenance, and you would think the world is ending that we didn't have Skyward up, but that's because they updated it. It's called Skyward Q now, and there was a rollover on top of the software implementation. And Mr. King and I will say Kathy Shaw, Neal, oh my goodness, the work that has gone into this has been tremendous, and we can't thank him enough for it. It's a required software update, everyone. And so it's different. It caused a little bit of pain. We'll get through it, but thank you for all your hard work on that. In the midst of doing our regular summer work, he had to do that, right? So it's just appreciated for that. We did have bus inspection, and it was a tough one, I will say that. And we just had, we don't have a head mechanic out there anymore, and our maintenance department has been helping us with that. We do have some people that are interning and learning the job really well. We're trying to grow our own. We have 2 very capable mechanics, and we have some mechanics on the outside that have been coming to help us. Even Johnny from the city has been helping us with a few things that our people needed help with. As it turned out, we had some things that, we had a few buses that did not pass, but they were minor adjustments. I can't say enough about Chris Connor. First of all, Ryan Rosenbaum, but Chris Connor, when we got our initial reports back, I called him and I just said, your priority is those buses. He is like a jack of all trades. If you know Chris Connor, he can do just about anything, but he is a certified mechanic. But he loves being in the maintenance department. He does not want to be a mechanic, but he can fix anything, and he is just so skilled. Immediately went over, and I'm down to 1 bus that didn't pass yet, and we're working on that because of Johnny from the city. And Steve Wells, who's a former employee of ours, he came over to help as well. this has been the biggest effort of so many people, even my husband involved with like, do you know a mechanic that would be willing to come work a little bit until we can grow our own to get them where they need to be. It took so many people to pass that bus inspection. And our drivers working in this unbearable heat, cleaning, washing, and waxing all of our buses. And I can't say enough about all of these individuals and being excellent on purpose. Could not have done this without all of them, and I'm truly thankful for them. You know, and then you think about, we're trying to put turf in, we're trying to make sure that our buildings are ready for people to come back. We're getting ready to go into insurance renewal. We'll be talking to the board about that in times to come. And just making sure that everything is ready for people to come back. Lots going on. And I'm just really proud of everybody for the efforts that they've put in. My last comment that I do want to say, and by obviously I want to thank Mr. Mock because, and then we've already thanked Dr. Krieg for amplifying the curriculum work, but the safety aspect of this in our school district could not do this without our district security team, and he's a major asset on there. And so we all just have skills and talents, and we have a lot of it here, and just proud of them. The last comment I do want to make is a Be Excellent on Purpose for Miss Abby Keene, and if you would be so nice to award this to her from us. And you sent me her picture of her lemonade dress, and we made sure we got that on there. And for the audience's purposes that may be watching online, she runs an amazing lemonade stand, and she donates all of that to the food pantry. And we couldn't be prouder of her for her service and just her compassion that she has for other people. And so she deserves to be excellent on purpose. If you would award this and give her a picture, give me a picture back, I'd like to post that if you would be okay with that.
I will, yes.
All right, could we pass that now?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank our little Abby. She's amazing. The chocolate bar, trust me, I tried to do some different things with being excellent on purpose, and the kids said we like the candy bar.
The staff too.
The staff
Candy
does.
bars are awesome.
I will say though, you're going to have to really up your game for a candy bar this year because we also have little Johann coins that are chocolate. So you start off with a coin,
haven't seen those.
and then if you want more chocolate, you got to perform higher. Again, being excellent on purpose, the most important thing to me is that the kids understand that concept. Whether it's performance-based, citizenship, or whatever, they recognize what it means to be excellent on purpose. So, there you go. Thank you, Ann.
Chris, you might want to work on your lemonade stand.
Yeah.
You want a candy bar? You got to work
Lemonade
hard.
and candy bars.
Thank you. And Mr. Keene, you are next.
Well, so it has been an interesting summer with the Skyward transition. We are officially completely up and running now. Really kind of as of this morning. We were partially up yesterday. I think the biggest thing that parents have been waiting on is to be able to get back into registration, most importantly.
And we can appreciate that.
Yeah. And so we've been taking a lot of calls today, and I actually love when parents call in for help because truly, like, you know, sometimes they're overwhelmed or they're upset, but by the end of every call, I always feel good, like they're happy, they're pleased with where we got. So I always would encourage parents to call if you're having any technology problems. That's what we're there for, and so we'll help out with that. And then I had kind of forgotten about it, and then Dr. B reminded me, like, to give a shout out to the bus drivers who were doing the bus cleaning. My office is right inside the door at the service center, and so I see all the traffic that comes in and out, and it's oftentimes bus drivers because the kitchen's in there and their mailboxes are there. And when they were outside cleaning, there were a few times I thought I might need to get up and help them because they would come in and it was just like, it was so hot out there, and then they're in the buses doing all that cleaning, and they were just like exhausted coming in for like a break in the air conditioning. So they really do deserve a shout out for all that work. I don't think I would want to do that. So
And you
That
know,
was great.
a lot of that too, they walked in the parade, they wanted to have our bus in the parade, our transportation department. So they even did that on the 4th of July. There was like no break for them. And again, they deserve to be recognized.
Thank you. Mr. Longer?
They looked like they were having a great time in the parade, too.
Yeah, they did. They were really proud of themselves.
Yeah,
So.
they really looked like they were
I
enjoying
loved
themselves.
the little blow up of Uncle Sam hanging out one of the bus windows. It was it was fun.
It was great. It was great.
Thank you. Mr. Metz?
I want to take a moment to recognize the one and only Pat Skune.
Oh yeah.
As Dr. Buffington mentioned, it is obviously extremely busy in our office and across the district just getting ready for the school year. But Tuesday morning comes to mind because Pat and I were having a nice little conversation and we said, there's only one thing on this personnel report and we're going to be done. By the end of the day, you see what was on that personnel report. It was a whole page. And Pat just takes it all in as Peggy and I are sending it to her fast and furious. And she manages to get it all done for us. And so I just really appreciate you, Pat, and just wanted to publicly acknowledge that.
I don't know. I was saying something to her, and she's like, if I ever get this personnel report done, because it was constantly changing. And you are kind of in that phase right now. We always talk about it in terms of the superintendency. Hiring starts back in March and April, and it's really a 3-phase type of process because somebody leaves, you've got to replace them, and so we're in the round 3 of people that are like, it's been going on since March, April, and now we're in the last leg before school starts, and so you see a lot of different things happening in personnel.
She asked me if it was done, and I said, or finished, and I said, I'm trying.
Well, I'm always checking on green marks, and I'm like, how's it going? And it's like, I'm trying. It's so interesting because sometimes, I know when I've talked to the Hobart Teachers Association, they're like, why can't we have that early? Are you kidding? We barely get it done for you guys. And I'm like, we can. We do the best that we can because what people don't realize is that we're going a whole 2 weeks without somebody if we don't get it on the agenda, right? And so we can give you an addendum, which gives us another couple of days. But if we don't get it on here, they're waiting 2 weeks, and so we don't want that. Great job to you.
Thank you. Dr. Creed?
I too would like to thank my colleagues here. I think we all kind of sort of represent different departments, right? Obviously, Dr. Buffington overseeing all of them. And I guess I would just say from a curriculum standpoint, something that she makes an effort of. We have people, as you know, Sandy, that work just on their own in the summer and do whatever, right? But she makes a point of making sure that people know if you want to come in, you can come in. You tell us, and we'll work with you. So to give you an idea, we have several others scheduled, but we've already had 33 different teachers who have come in to do curriculum work, common assessments, things of that nature. And some of them have been here more than once.
Yeah, and you've done a great job with that, Dr. Creed. You truly have. I will say, too, to even speak to that, I have like 4 people that have worked so much this summer. They're trailblazers on helping me get ready for some PD that Dr. Krieg and I started back in April on AI and the levels that we expect our students to abide by, but we're going to teach our students what those levels are. And so I have some incredible teachers that have just worked all summer creating modules inside of Canvas to go over those levels of use that you can use AI and how to use it appropriately. This has been, we call it our playbook. Dr. Krieg, my sidekick, and We did focus groups with students, we focus grouped with teachers, went back to kids, even when we were interviewing board reps, I went back to them again. And then these 4 individuals that I've been working with, mainly 2, but there's a couple of others that we've thrown in there. We have it down to a science, and we're going to release it when school starts, but could not have done it without like the expertise that we have in the room. And I think kids will be surprised. I think teachers will understand it. What's really interesting, Dr. Krieg is on, I turned him on to AJ Giuliani, who is one of the biggest renowned AI users in educational research today. And he had released something, and then another piece of research came out where they were testing like AI and what should districts do, and we had already surpassed that. And so that's because, well, we were kind of ahead of everyone with it, you know. But as kids are so literate with it, we do still have to protect the learning process, right? And so we're going to do our absolute best to help kids understand that. And I think one of the most fascinating things that we learned from kids in focus groups was they didn't realize that Conmigo actually is ChatGPT. It's just, it has guardrails on it because it's not going to give you the answer. And we want you to have productive struggle so that you can apply learning to new situations. And so that's a hard concept when you just want to get your work done, right? Doesn't everybody want to just get their work done? I want to get my work done too. But understanding that there are some things that you cannot use AI for. And we have to help them appreciate that. And so I think we're ready for them. It's been a lot. If I tell you that we've worked on something since April and literally probably didn't finish it till about 2 weeks ago. What'd you say?
Iterative process.
Oh yeah. Little changes here and there. But we're ready. And if you have children in this district, you will get a sneak peek. Actually, it's live if you wanted to go see the videos. We have 6 modules that we will be sharing with parents. The videos, anyway. They're under technology, and if you go to AI, all 6 videos are there. And we actually have activities that we're doing with kids to make sure they understand it, but we want parents to see what we expect. And so they're short little videos. There's 6 of them. Well, actually, there's 9 of them because there's some subs in one of the sections. But it's really fascinating and it's really well done. My husband was listening to one as I was listening to it, and he's like, wow, that person sounds professional. It was Melissa Higgison. She sounds professional, and I did tease her, and I said, I hope you're not going to go pro on us here because it's so well done. I cannot thank Nanelle Hairston and Melissa Higgison enough, and I know you feel the same way, Tim, because this has been enormous. And they've really shown up. And Callie Hairston teaches at Liberty. She's helped out a lot too. Jill McDonald has thrown her hat in a little bit too. It's just been a really, really group effort. And to your point, a lot of hardworking people in the summer when they didn't have to, right? So, very cool.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Cosby, you're up.
Right. Yes, a huge thank you to that side of the room. Listening to all the things that you guys have going on from pretty much the time that school's let out until we get ready to go back here in a few weeks. So a big, huge thank you to all of you for everything you do. Hopefully you've had a moment to breathe at some point and enjoy the summer or have some time with your families. But a huge thank you again for all that you do. Love to hear about all the donations and the money that's raised for our kids in our schools, whether it's a booster club, whether it's a PTO, whether it's a not-for-profit. A lot of work goes into that, and we really love seeing that. Love seeing that amount of money that's brought back in here for our kids to have all the extras and the nice perks and the things that they get to experience that they wouldn't without that. Lastly, the school city shared our Education Foundation flyer, save the date for Harvest Homecoming. So if you see that out there, please share away on social media and continue to spread the word. We would appreciate it. That's all I got.
Thank you. Mr. Rogers?
I also would like to thank that whole group over there, and I have absolutely no concerns about the first day of school. I'm not real sure how you do it every year, but it seems to work out that way.
Great people.
And Chris, I only have one problem. I think the Canadian Fire smoke is on my screen.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure it'll be a problem in 2 weeks.
Well, Dr. Krieg was in my office. John is on the opposite side of the building, and I was smelling it in my office. And I opened the door after we were done with our meeting, and I said, "Are you guys smelling the smoke inside of the building?" And so John walks over to my office, and he's like, "Oh, holy cow, coming off of the lake." I don't know if that had a huge effect in my office, but it was just not good in my office. It was not good.
All righty, thank you. Mr. King?
Again, I will echo their thanks for what you guys all do. It's really amazing, the amount of work that has to go into educating a kid, not just one, but 4,000 kids, and keeping up with them and keeping track of them and their levels and where they're at, and making sure that people don't get left behind, and making sure that the kids who are ahead get the push they need to stay moving is a lot of work. And you guys do a great job at it, and thank you for that.
Yeah.
From the Parks Board, the agenda was pretty short at the most recent meeting. They did have some renderings posted for the new park. That's the whole park that they're going to be working on. They look pretty nice. I think they're putting them up at the community center. People wanted to see them. They also had the Friends of Robinson Lake there to talk about some shoreline restoration of Robinson Lake. Trying to get the Parks Board of the city to put some money in the lake over there. But no other major items from them. From the NISEC board, it was kind of business as usual, except that it was Dr. Marshmorn's last meeting, so she is officially retired as director, and the new director, Dr. Rebecca Harkema, was there. She is excited to work, and she is ready to do the job, so I'm very excited about that. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Schultz?
I'll say it again because it's worth saying. I know how hard you guys work all year long. You can never take a break in the summer. So, big thank you to all you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Mr. Forrest?
Yes, I would also like to chime in and thank the administration on that side of the, for all the hard work over the summer. I also like to thank the community members that donated to make the coaches and the sponsors be able to do all the extra stuff a lot easier. And Mr. King, you mentioned a phone number that parents could use to call for registration. What would be the best phone number you think?
219-942-1388.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Mrs. Stone?
What you said, and what you said, and we said. The work you do is very much appreciated. I also wanted to point out that just choosing a language arts curriculum, it's quite a process, and so I understand what you've done for Mr. Krieg. I believe we went to the textbook caravan. Did you go to the one last year, this year? I don't know.
It all goes together.
It does all blend together, but it is a process. And
It's huge.
it's a big commitment. So Amplify, I've had the pleasure of working with them as our universal screener. So
You use them class?
Yes, yes, and I've worked with the same people that are on your forums, so they're a good company to work with. I think you'll be very pleased.
We didn't say this, but they are near perfect on ed reports, so.
Okay, so that's good. That's
Yeah.
really good. And also, I just hoping that your retreat next week is very fruitful, and that your
Thank you.
beginning of the year starts off with a plan, and I know it will. Everybody's in the same direction. And one more quick little thing.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Uncle John.
Thank you.
That's right.
It was a big moment in the Mock family on July 5th. So
It sure was.
Yes, it
congratulations
was.
on your new nephew, Jackson.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right, and last but not least, everyone that has already repeated and has said that we appreciate all of the work that you all do. You help keep this district running, and you are what makes this district what it is. So thank you for all of your hard work and your dedication to making us who we are. For the retreat next week, I can't believe that's already next week, but as Sandy said, you always pack it full of information that they can use and make themselves better, and we appreciate that. And it's time to buy school supplies, everybody. And that's
Yes,
how I'm
it
gonna
is.
end this meeting. We're gonna adjourn.